Chapter 1001 The Grand Thief System. Amidst the green hills and waters shrouded in mist, Fang Xiaoyu stood there dumbfounded, his eyes fixed on a graceful figure in the pond ahead. It was a breathtaking scene of a beautiful woman bathing, but at that moment, a gust of chilling wind swept by, bone-deep cold, accompanied by a shrill wail. A white phantom, hair disheveled, appeared in the air. The white phantom, its long hair flowing, wore a long robe, but its outstretched hands were as black as ink, its fingernails severing as long, lunging towards the girl in the pond.
"No good, the wire snapped!"
"Quick, save her!" a prop person shouted. The white phantom, suspended in mid-air, let out a melodious shriek and plunged straight into the pond. Fang Xiaoyu, forgetting to appreciate the alluring sight of the heroine emerging from the water, dropped his reflector and dived into the pond. The icy lake water sent a shiver down Fang Xiaoyu's spine. It was autumn evening. Being submerged in the lake water had its own unique feeling. Fang Xiaoyu felt immense admiration for the heroine who had been submerged for nearly an hour, but he didn't forget to swim towards Chengye, who had fallen into the lake. Soon Chengye, struggling in the water like a mermaid, appeared before Fang Xiaoyu's eyes. The moment Fang Xiaoyu grabbed Chengye, she clung to him as if he were a lifeline, her curvaceous body pressed against his. This scene, the kind only dreamt, stirred no romantic feelings in Fang Xiaoyu. Instead, it filled him with terror. Head cramped, having not warmed up before entering the water, the cold shocked his legs into spasms, combined with Chengye's desperate clinging. Fang Xiaoyu felt himself uncontrollably sinking. With a gurgle, he swallowed a mouthful of icy lake water. Mustering all his strength, he pushed Chengye towards the rapidly approaching rescue, while he himself sank involuntarily towards the lake bottom. Vaguely, Fang Xiaoyu felt a searing heat on his chest, like a torrent of fire flooding his brain. He didn't even have time to scream before losing consciousness. A blinding flash of white light pierced the dark lake water, and Fang Xiaoyu's figure vanished instantly. "Someone get in the water and save him!" Lifeguards in life vests plunged into the lake, swimming towards the spot where Fang Xiaoyu had disappeared.
Pain! Such agonizing pain!
Suddenly, Fang Xiaoyu let out a piercing scream, instinctively struggling to escape the burning liquid. A large hand clamped down on Fang Xiaoyu, and a slightly hoarse female voice rang out.
"Xiaoyu, begor, your aunt will spank you!"
Who dares spank? With a slap, Fang Xiaoyu felt a burning pain and let out an involuntary wail. No, this voice. Opening his eyes, Fang Xiaoyu's eyes widened, his face a picture of disbelief. Across from him, in a steamy wooden tub, a chubby little boy was winking and grinning, clearly enjoying the spectacle. That in itself wasn't so bad, just a chubby little boy. But between the tubs, a woman in ancient clothing, her hair done up in a matron's style, stood holding Ru, her face burning with anger. Glaring at him, Fang Xiaoyu shrieked and plunged into the water, regardless of its scalding temperature.
"You little rascal, you're incorrigible!"
The woman tapped the ruler against her palm, then spun around and brought it down hard on the chubby boy in the opposite tub, eliciting a howl of protest. "Fang Xiaoyu, you little devil! Do you really think your old mother doesn't know what you were doing just now?" When she was silent, the woman appeared to be a virtuous and well-behaved lady, but the moment she spoke, she shattered Fang Xiaoyu's worldview. Looking closer, Fang Xiaoyu almost cried out, "Xiao Fang Fang!" Fang Xiu body shrunk. "Xiao Fang Fang, what kind of rhythm is this?" Just as Fang staring dumbfoundedly at his thin arms and legs, his body shrunk back to the size of a 10-year-old. With a creak, the door opened. A refined man, dressed in a dark blue robe and a black skullcap inlaid with jade, held a book in one hand before him. The other behind his back stood tall and handsome.
"Madon and Xiu should be out for their studies!"
Hearing the refined man's voice, the woman who had just shattered Fang Xiaoyu's worldview suddenly turned and said with affection and a sugary tone,
"My lord who understands!"
So cold, Fang Xiaoyu couldn't help but shiver, feeling goosebumps rising all over his body under the impact of that cloying voice. While dressing, he secretly sized up the chubby boy who resembled Jet Li, then looked at the beautiful Xiao Fang Fang, who was about 30, and the handsome older man, Fang. If Fang Xiaoyu still didn't understand where he was, then he would be doing a disservice to his status as a movie fanatic and prop master. Fang Xiu. This is clearly the world of the movie version of Fang Xiu, the 1993 version of Fang Xiaoyu, most memorable for Jet Li's portrayal of Fang Xiaoyu. The stunning Michelle Rise as Lai Tingting, Adam Cheng as Chen Jialuo, the leader of the Red Flower Society, and Max Mock as the Nine Gate supervisor, a duo, alongside Chen Songgang as Lei Laohu and the beautiful Brigitte Lin as Xuanhuan Tue. As one of Jet Li's representative works from the 1990s, Fang Xiaoyu, coupled with the appearance of the stunning Michelle Race, had been watched by Fang Xiaoyu no less than a dozen times. He could practically recite the plot backwards, gradually calming down. Fang Xiaoyu sat properly at the desk. Opposite him was Fang Di, full of moral pronouncements, while beside him, fidgeting like a worm, was in his seat, sat the future Fang Xiaoyu.
"A chubby little boy, slap! Oh!"
Fang De's ruler landed on Fang Sai, the sharp sting eliciting a cry that jolted a preoccupied Fang Xiaoyu back to reality. "Xiaoyu, recite the Daxu I just read aloud for Xiu." Subconsciously standing up, Fang Xiaoyu opened his mouth, but his mind was a chaotic mess. A beeper and a voice resounded in his head. "Congratulations on successfully activating the movie thief system. Special reward: 1 opportunity to enter a movie world. Note, how you said 1 automatic identity matching opportunity. Note, how you seed 1 opportunity for a complete physical transformation and rejuvenation.
No use, ouch, that hurt."
Lost in the strange system message, Fang Xiaoyu felt a sharp pain in his head, the system disappearing from his mind, opening.
"He saw Fang Des furious!
Those two good-for-nothing boys! 3 years and they can't even memorize a single university textbook. Are you trying to drive me to my grave? Miao, embroidering by the window, saw Fang De clutching his chest in anger. Quickly putting down her needlework, she moved with the speed of a ghost, covering the distance in a flash to appear before him. Supporting him, she helped him to calm down, soothingly saying, "My lord, those two rascals are simply not cut out for studying. Just calm down, let me give them a good lesson." Chapter Lesson 2. The movie world. Saying this, Miao snatched the ruler, turned her back to Fang De, and winked at Fang Xiu and Fang Xiaoyu.
She called out, "Young filial sons!"
You can't memorize university texts, but you can't even recite classic poems like Spring Sleep Knows No Dawn. Everywhere the cocks crow. Fang Xiaoyu, along with Fang Xiu, scrambled out like a pair of chickens and dogs. Just like Fang De, before escaping, Fang Xiaoyu clearly saw Fang De's face contort upon hearing the classic poem recited by Miao. His chest heaved even more violently, and Fang Xiaoyu genuinely feared his father might actually be driven to death by anger, especially when the chubby Fang Xiu giggled. "Spring sleep knows no dawn, everywhere the cocks crow. Miao, Fang Xiu, the three of you will be the death of me." Like a god of war possessed, Fang De snatched the ruler and chased after the three, his scholarly demeanor completely forgotten. In the living room, the fragrant food made the three drool, but at that moment, Fang Xiaoyu the delicious aroma and swallowing hard. Fang De glared at them, his face stern. "This time I'll let you off.
Next time you'll get no dinner. Wow, it's time to eat!"
Fang Xiu, having done a somersault. Before Fang Xiaoyu could react, Miao Flower lightly snorted, took a step forward, hooked the stool with her foot, and it landed steadily behind her. She casually tossed her clothes aside, sat down.
"Oh?"
But at this moment, Fang De frowned and made a sound of disapproval. Miao Flower, who had just been so triumphant, swiftly lowered her legs, sat with them neatly together, lowered her head demurely, her flay. Adopting the demeanor of a proper lady, she ate her rice in small bites, occasionally serving Fang De food. As for Fang Xiaoyu and Fang Xiu, they ate while squatting in a martial arts stance. Fang Xiaoyu was astonished to see Fang Xiu maintaining his stance perfectly, as if there were actually a chair beneath his bottom. Only a short while had passed, and he already felt his legs tremble with weakness, on the verge of collapse. The little fat boy beside him was thoroughly enjoying his meal, practically burying his face in his rice bowl and eating with gusto. With a thud, Fang De put down his bowl, glanced at the three of them, rose leisurely, and said with his hands behind his back, "I'm finished, you continue." Miao Flower, completely smitten, gazed adoringly at Fang De. "Master, have a safe journey." Seeing this, Fang Xiaoyu shivered. While watching it in a movie was one thing, experiencing it firsthand made him deeply sympathize with his nominal father. He could imagine how the old man endured it. With a thwack, Fang Xiaoyu felt a sharp pain on his bottom. He heard Miao Fang, transformed into a shrew, one hand on her hip, yelling at him, "You stinking brat! You can't even hold a proper horse stance, and you dream of entering Shaolin." Fang Xiaoyu chuckled wryly. Although his small frame had been rejuvenated and reborn by the system, he wasn't like Fang Xiu, raised from infancy in medicinal concoctions. Thankfully he was now 10 years old after the rejuvenation. If the system had dropped his older self into this world, he probably wouldn't be here today. Though Skull, Fang Xiaoyu knew Miao Fang had his best interests at heart, and he silently ate his meal. Darkness enveloped the outside world. In the small room, Fang Xiaoyu lay in bed, listening to Fang Xia's steady breathing beside him, and a dreamlike feeling washed over him. An orphan had grown up near film studios, immersed in the world of movies from a young age, had been an extra, a laborer, and finally, at 23, had landed a job in a film crew as an unassuming prop master. An accident on set occurred. His attempt to save a damsel in distress by diving resulted in his death, unexpectedly activating a mysterious film system. Suddenly, Fang Xiaoyu remembered something and called out to the film system in his mind. Quickly, a ball of light appeared in his head. Seeing the ball of light, Fang Xiaoyu knew it was the mysterious film system. "System, I ask you, can I return to my own world?" Beep. Host can return after completing the task. His spirit. Fang Xiao frowned slightly. "What task must I complete?" Beep. Host has triggered a world task. Task now issued. Task 1. Kill the 9-gate supervisor and rescue Fang De. Task 2. Obtain the 9-dragon imperial seal. Fang Xiaoyu. Fang De, as a member of the Red Flower Society, was captured by the 9-gate supervisor due to a leaked roster. Later, Fang Xiu killed the supervisor and rescued Fang De. During this, Fang Xiu married into the Lei family. Unless something unexpected happens, the 9-gate supervisor is inevitably going to die. However, in the original story, the supervisor dies at the hands of Fang Xiu, but the system requires Fang Xiaoyu to kill him, meaning Fang Xiaoyu must personally deal with the supervisor. As for the second task, seizing the 9-dragon imperial seal is no easier than defeating Erduo. The 9-dragon imperial seal is the Emperor Xuanlong's personal seal. The difficulty of stealing it from him is readily apparent. In short, the two tasks don't seem particularly difficult, and they don't seem designed to kill Fang Xiaoyu. But on closer inspection, completing these tasks requires a prerequisite. Fang Xiaoyu must possess extremely high martial arts skills. Otherwise, if he can't even defeat Fang Xiu, then he's unlikely to complete either task. If I can't complete these tasks, will I be eliminated? Beep. The system only assists the host in traversing movie worlds, issuing tasks and settling rewards. It does not have the ability to eliminate the host.
Woo, that scared the hell out of me!
I thought I'd be eliminated if I couldn't complete the task. By the way, what are the consequences if I can't complete a task? Beep. If the host fails to complete a task, the system will fall dormant until the host dies in this world.
Then it will search for a new host.
What, if I can't complete a task, I'll die in this. If that's true, wouldn't it be a waste of this amazing system I've got? Learning that the system couldn't kill him, Fang Xiaoyu was invigorated. System,
You're so amazing!
can you let me travel from Beiming to Kangwu in a single day? Allow me to fly and teleport and achieve immortality. Fang's face was full of hopeful anticipation as he fantasized about a bright future. Beep, the system does not have this capability. Fang Xiaoyu's face immediately fell. He scoffed.
It can't even do that!
However, before he could finish, he heard the system continue. The system only assists the host in traversing movie worlds. Whether you can achieve the ability to destroy the heavens and the earth, or immortality, it all depends on the host's own efforts. What a great system. What you say so earlier? Getting a system but not achieving immortality?
That would be a joke!
Anyway, let's go straight to the Pirates of the Caribbean world and
Grab the Fountain of Youth!
Beep, magical world. System crossover probability for this type of world, 1%. The laughter stopped abruptly. Fang Xiaoyu was stunned for a moment, but quickly said, it doesn't matter, it's just a low probability, not impossible to enter. But we in the Great East have countless Xuanhuan Xiangxia stories, surely we can find the path to immortality. Beep, new user guidance complete, mission issued, system dormant until mission completion. Fang Xiaoyu's heart leaped. But this time it remained completely unresponsive. Finally, Fang Xiaoyu gave up and fell into a deep sleep. Chapters 1003. The young protagonist, you two lazy good-for-nothings. Get up and practice your martial arts. As the sky was just beginning to lighten, a voice startled Fang Xiaoyu awake. Needless to say, that voice belonged to no one other than Miao Qia. A cold wind blew. Fang Xiaoyu gritted his teeth and held his horse stance. An orphan from Fang Xiaoyu was undoubtedly tougher than Fang Xiu, though his foundation was somewhat weaker, thanks to the system's transformation and Miao Qia's strict supervision. In a short time, Fang Xiaoyu's horse stance became perfect in form and spirit. Even Miao Qia praised him. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Fang Xiaoyu's foundation was exceptionally solid, having only learned the most basic Luohanquan. He hadn't yet learned more advanced techniques. Most importantly, Fang Xiaoyu discovered from Miao Qia that the inner strength manual he had hoped for was illusory. Even Miao Qia, a direct descendant of Shaolin, only practiced inner family boxing. There were no inner strength manuals like the 9 Yun manual or the 9 Yang manual. Martial artists at most become physically strong, able to climb walls and leap buildings with ease, and fight off a dozen opponents single-handedly. But achieving the level of walking on water with a single reed, plucking leaves to launch attacks, and defeating thousands of enemies is simply a dream. Of course, even so, Fang Xiaoyu wasn't overly disappointed. The absence of such miraculous skills in the Fang Xiu world didn't mean they didn't exist in other worlds. Inner family boxing, however, provided the best solid foundation, forging the self. The strength of the flesh was universally applicable in any world. So even without the mission's requirements, Fang Xiaoyu trained diligently through winter and summer for 3 years, forging an incredibly strong body. A bucket of cold water poured over his head, washing away the sweat. His clothes concealed a physique that would make women scream. Years of cultivation had made Fang Xiaoyu incredibly flexible. Dressed in a long robe, holding a book, his demeanor had completely changed. He was now a harmless, refined. The world of the Qianlong era was relatively peaceful. While occasional disturbances occurred, it was largely tranquil. Fang Xiaoyu, in his blue robe, walked among the crowd, attracting many people to greet him. Brother Fang. Try, it's incredibly sweet, Brother Fang. Take a look at these Western sunglasses, they're special. Exactly what you said. Brother, they're cool. Tut, isn't this Master Fang? Look at him. A true dragon amongst men. My daughter is simply pining for you. Several women, dressed in revealing attire, were closing in, causing Fang Xiaoyu to flee in terror.
Why, you're mean! Ting won't play with you anymore!
From a nearby alleyway, a childish voice reached Fang Xiaoyu's ear, prompting him to look towards the sound. He saw several children, around 8 or 9 years old, teasing a young girl. She was dressed well, clearly from a wealthy family, but it was her exquisite features that truly caught his eye. The moment he saw the girl, Fang Xiaoyu was momentarily stunned. The girl's face was delicate and refined, her bright, watery eyes sparkling with intelligence, a goddess in the making. Wah, Ting wants to go home.
Ting want be Big Fatty's bride!
From amongst the children, a chubby boy declared arrogantly, Lei Ting, today you're going to be my bride. Wang ho! Fang Xiaoyu couldn't help but chuckle, a sound that drew their attention. The chubby boy, upon seeing Fang Xiaoyu, shouted, damn you.
What are you laughing at? Get lost!
Fang Xiaoyu was only 13 years old, still boyish, perhaps only a year or two older than the chubby boy. The chubby boy resembled a walking mountain of flesh, yet his height wasn't much different from Fang Xiaoyu's big brother.
One who is a bad guy!
Tears welled up in the little girl's eyes as she looked at Fang Xiaoyu, seemingly regarding him as a savior. The chubby boy beside her was displeased. His play bride was about to be snatched away. He glared fiercely at Xiaoyu and gestured to his group of friends. Brothers, get him! 5 or 6 kids of varying heights, the youngest at least 10 years old, roared and charged towards Fang Xiaoyu, led by the chubby boy. Fang smiled faintly. He sidestepped the chubby boy's clumsy charge, lightly kicking his leg. The boy cried out and tumbled to the ground. The other kids were no match for Fang Xiaoyu, who had been training for years. In a flash, Fang Xiaoyu had the little brats wailing. Fang Xiaoyu had no interest in bullying these kids, so he stopped after giving them a lesson. Gently tapping a book against his palm, Fang Xiaoyu looked down at the kids with disdain, not noticing the adoration shining in the little girl's bright eyes. Wang hu. The chubby boy scrambled to his feet.
Pointing at Fang Xiaoyu, you little punk, got the guts to tell me your name. I've got my whole gang here.
With a loud thud, a large fat man came running, shouting from afar.
You scoundrel!
Which little brat dared to bully my Ting Ting? Get over here! With a clatter, Wang Hu and the other children, who had never seen such a sight, were so startled by the fat man that they turned and ran, in the blink of an eye. The children had vanished without a trace, while the fat man ran straight towards Fang Xiaoyu. The fat man's fingers spread out, grabbing towards Fang Xiaoyu. Fang Xiaoyu quickly dodged, but even though the fat man knew no martial arts, his sheer weight was astonishing. Even though Fang Xiaoyu avoided him, he still brushed against his arm, causing the scroll in his hand to fall to the ground with a pat. You little brat.
You dared to bully my daughter!
Lai Lahu will beat you to death. He looked at the fat man and realized it was the unforgettable Lai Lahu. However, Fang Xiaoyu didn't dare to stay. His physique was no match for Lai Lahu, who was like a mountain of flesh. Seeing that Lai Lahu didn't look like someone who would reason, Fang Xiaoyu made up his mind and ran. Lai Lahu was about to chase after him when a clear, sweet voice rang out.
Father, what are you doing? Stop it!
That voice was like an imperial decree to Lai Lahu. He stopped immediately, slowly turned around, and forced a kind smile onto his face. Ting Ting, those little brats have all been chased away by father. 8 or 9-year-old Lai Ting Ting snorted, and picked up the scroll that Fang Xiaoyu had dropped. She opened it, and 3 words appeared before her eyes.
Fang Xiaoyu, good girl. What are you looking at? Let your old father have a peek.
Lai Lahu, craning his neck to try and see what was on the scroll in Lai Ting Ting's hands, but the little girl quickly closed it, letting out a soft humph before turning and walking away. Lai Lahu scratched his head, calling after Lai Ting Ting, good girl. Why aren't you talking to your old father?
Live and let live!
Meanwhile, Fang Xiaoyu walked with his head down, his heart churning. Fang Xiu, Lai Lahu, Lai Ting Ting, their appearances one after another filled Fang Xiaoyu with a sense of urgency. 8 years, at most 8 years, and the events of the movie would begin, and at that time, he would have to face the formidable Qing dynasty forces led by the 9-Gate supervisor, Erju. Thinking of the powerful Erjuo portrayed by Zhao Wenjuo, Fang Xiaoyu felt immense pressure. If he couldn't defeat Zhou Wenjuo by then, Fang Xiaoyu might as well die in this world. I should go to Shaolin. The saying all martial arts under heaven originate from Shaolin isn't just a saying. I need to talk to my concubine mother about going to Shaolin. Fang Xiaoyu muttered softly. Returning to the Fang residence now was far grander than it had been. While Fang Xiaoyu, a time traveler, couldn't create any major inventions, he was quite capable of smaller ones. In just 3 years, the Fang family's business had undergone a dramatic transformation, becoming a renowned merchant family in Guangzhou, even moving into a large mansion. Fang Xiaoyu had secretly observed that nearly half of the Fang mansion's income seemed to disappear. If he didn't know Fang De's identity, he would have suspected the accountants and managers of colluding to embezzle funds. Needless to say, the missing income was undoubtedly being secretly siphoned off by Fang De to support the Red Flower Society. Though he knew this perfectly well, Fang Xiaoyu chose not to expose it. On the one hand, it was because of his age. On the other, he needed to maintain the plot's trajectory. He didn't want to mess up the entire fictional world and jeopardize his mission. After dismissing the respectful servants along the way, a sudden gust of wind attacked. Fang Xiaoyu quickly performed a handstand bridge to evade the sneak attack, flipped up with a carp leap, and kicked at the attacker. Shaolin Temple. The attacker blocked Fang Xiaoyu's kick with both hands, stepping back and shouting,
Whoa, big brother, you're serious?
Fang Xiaoyu stood tall, a curious expression on his face. Strange, he said. Xiu, why are you back so early today? Did you get into trouble again? Years had passed and Fang Xiu was no longer the chubby boy had been 3 years ago. He now bore a striking resemblance to the megastar Li Lianji in Fang Xiaoyu's memory, about 7 or 8 points similar. Just watching Fang Xiu grow from a chubby little boy into the idol he envisioned, Fang Xiaoyu felt a strange sense of unease. Fang Xiu chuckled, brother, you're joking. Mother sent someone to find me, and it seems she sent someone to find you too. Hearing this, Fang Xiaoyu felt a surge of curiosity. It wasn't often that Miao Fang went to such lengths to find them both. Given Miao Fang's pampering of Fang Xiu, she wouldn't normally send someone to fetch him from his playtime. Fang Xiaoyu asked, oh, where are father and mother now? Fang Xiu pointed towards the hall in the distance. They seemed to be entertaining an old monk in the living room. A monk? Slightly startled, Fang Xiaoyu's mind. A flicker of intrigue in his eyes. Although this was a movie world, Fang Xiu's martial arts skills were undoubtedly inherited from Shaolin, if he wasn't mistaken. Fang Xiu had spent several years at Shaolin Temple before his debut. Could this old monk, conversing with Fang De and Miao Fang, be from Shaolin? He recalled Miao Fang mentioning several times to him and Fang Xiu about sending them brothers to Shaolin Temple to learn martial arts. It seemed that the time for their journey to Shaolin had arrived. When Fang Xiaoyu and the other saw the old monk from Shaolin, they heard Miao Flower say, you two brats,
hurry up and greet Master Jushi.
Master Jushi was one of the 5 ancestors of Shaolin. Fang Xiaoyu and Fang Xiu stepped forward together and respectfully bowed, saying, youngsters, pay their respects to the master. Master Jushi, looking every inch the great Buddhist monk, his eyes sparkling with brilliance, swept his gaze over the two before instantly reaching out to grab them. Almost instinctively, Fang Xiaoyu was about to dodge, but Master Jushi's large hand landed firmly on Fang's shoulder, his door rendering him immobile. Then, Master Jushi's large hand swept swiftly across Fang Xiaoyu's body. Before Fang Xiaoyu could react, Fang Xiu beside him suffered the same fate. A pervert. Fang Xiu was unlike Fang. He looked like a little girl who had been bullied, his hands protectively covering his chest as he cried out loudly. The surprise on Master Zhish's face froze, followed by a long, resonant Buddhist chant.
Amitabha!
Mia Kui Flower was, she said.
Brat! The master was feeling your bones! What are you yelling about?
Master Zhaishan, Myokua said apologetically. My children are unruly.
Please forgive their rudeness!
She paused, glancing at her two sons. Master Zhaishan clasped his hands together. Their aptitude is exceptional. They are made for cultivation. I wish to take them both as my disciples. What do you think? Myokua kicked each of them in the back of their knees.
Get down on your knees and bow to your master!
Thump, thump. From Myokua's reaction, Fang Xiaoyu knew that Master Zhaishan was definitely a great master. Furthermore, he was aware of the reputation of the 5 ancestors of Shaolin. Therefore, he readily knelt and kowtowed, saying,
Disciple Fang Xiaoyu greets his master.
Fang Xiu, despite his seemingly unserious demeanor, was quite clever. He immediately followed suit and knelt down. Master Zhaishan was quite pleased to have gained 2 satisfactory disciples. After they completed the master-disciple ceremony, he helped them up. Just then, Fang Xiu suddenly cried out,
Oh, I don't want to be a disciple.
I don't want to be a disciple. Miaokua and the others were stunned, looking at Fang Xiu with bewildered expressions as he waved his hands repeatedly. Looking utterly regretful, a slightly embarrassed Miaokua grabbed Fang Xiu's ear. You brat, what nonsense are you spouting? If I become a monk, Fang Xiu cried. Then little monks don't have wives. Fang Xiaoyu nearly burst out laughing, while Myoka Fang, furious with embarrassment, slapped Fang Xiu's bottom. You little what do you know about wives at your age? Master Jisen watched Fang Xiu getting a beating with an amused smile. Fang Xiaoyu couldn't help but grimace inwardly. It seemed this Master Jisen wasn't as amiable as he appeared. Fang Xiu quickly understood that they wouldn't actually become monks and could still marry in the future. Once he grasped this, he immediately bounced back to life. Songshan Shaolin, the ancestral temple of Zen Buddhism. Despite countless hardships throughout its history, Shaolin still stands to this day. The journey from Guangzhou to Songshan Shaolin covered thousands of miles, all on foot. Master Jisen was generally kind and caring, but since leaving the Fang residence, he'd relentlessly pushed them to practice their martial arts. They completed the thousands of miles in just over a month. For the first half of the journey, Fang Xiaoyu and Fang Xiu were exhausted every day, falling asleep almost instantly upon hitting their beds. Master Jisen passed down a remarkable breathing technique. While not a method for cultivating internal energy, Fang Xiaoyu could feel that controlling his breath according to this technique significantly increased his stamina and endurance. After traversing thousands of miles, and thanks to Master Jishan's breathing technique, Fang Xiaoyu, at least, he wasn't sure about Fang Xiu. Indeed, the Shaolin Temple, with its millennia of heritage, is profoundly impressive. Fang Xiaoyu could help but eagerly anticipate the years to come spent within its walls. Wow, undoubtedly, that's Fang Xiu's voice. Zhaishan, the Zen master beside him, didn't seem to mind and pushed open the large doors. With a creaking sound, the immensely thick doors slowly swung inward, revealing a wave of quiet solitude. Halls and statues of Buddha lined the way. Yet Fang Xiaoyu noticed an almost complete absence of people within the Shaolin Temple. Suddenly, Fang Xiaoyu recalled that during this period, the Shaolin Temple was under severe imperial suppression, enforcing its relocation southward to Pushan, Fujian. The Songshan Shaolin Temple, the ancestral home of Zen Buddhism, was sparsely populated, yet the accumulated essence of 1,000 years remained. Entering the temple, Fang Xiaoyu felt a profound sense of respect. Under Zhaishan's guidance, they paid their respects to Buddha and registered their names, officially becoming lay disciples of the Shaolin Temple. Through winter training in the bitterest cold and summer training in the sweltering heat, 8 years passed in the blink of an eye. Both Fang Xiaoyu and Fang Xiu had come of age. By a mountain stream, snow blanketed the land, transforming it into a scene of pristine beauty.
Yet 2 figure-chested,
sparred amidst the snow. One was the spitting image of Jet Li, the other, equally handsome and possessing a noble bearing, was undoubtedly Fang Xiaoyu's brother. Haha. Xiu? Damn! A roar erupted from Fang Xiaoyu as he sprang into the air, descending from above with a powerful Lohan punch aimed squarely at Fang Xiu. Fang Xiu chuckled. Watch my great strength Vajra fist! With a resounding bang, Fang Xiaoyu staggered, while Fang Xiu took a step back, clutching his fist and wailing. It hurts! Brother, your indestructible Vajra body is too powerful! This is only the first level. If you reach the second, wouldn't I be unable to even scratch you? Hearing Fang Xiu's exaggerated complaints, Fang Xiaoyu exhaled a sharp breath. 8 long years, brother. I endured countless hardships to achieve the first level. Sadly, the accompanying inner cultivation method is lost. Forcing it would injure me. My indestructible Vajra body likely won't advance much further. Chapter 005 9-Gate Supervisor. Fang Xi knew his brother better than anyone. Fang Xiaoyu always lamented the loss of the inner cultivation method whenever he mentioned the indestructible Vajra body. It was impossible for him to forget. It can't be helped. Not just Shaolin, but all the major sects and schools throughout the land have lost their inner cultivation methods. But brother, to reach the first level of the indestructible Vajra body without the method is astonishing. Didn't Master say that in a life or death struggle, even he might not be your match? Fang Xiaoyu smiled faintly, clapping Fang Xiu on the shoulder. That was Master being humble, and you actually believed him. Not just Master, but you're no slouch either. If we really fought, brother, I wouldn't be certain of defeating you. Fang Xiu scoffed, muttering, you might not be able to capture me alive, but killing me wouldn't be a problem. A slight smile played on Fang Xiaoyu's lips as he adopted the air of an elder brother. Xiu, he said. What are you muttering about? Fang Xiu quickly replied, brother, we should head back to the mountain. If we're late, the old monk will be furious. Fang Xiaoyu nodded. Hurry up and wash that meaty smell off you. Otherwise, the old monk won't just be angry. He might make you copy the Diamond Sutra 100 times. A shiver ran down Fang Xiao's spine. Startled, he plunged into the stream with a splash. Fang Xiaoyu, meanwhile, quickly cleaned up the remnants of their barbecue before similarly plunging into the water to wash himself. The two brothers returned to the temple together. Just as they were about to slip silently back to their rooms, a Buddhist chant suddenly rang out. They instantly exchanged a glance, and slowly turned towards the source of the sound.
Greeting, master!
Jiaishan, the Zen master, looked at them both and slowly walked towards his quarters, saying, come with me. The brothers found the Zen master's demeanor somewhat unusual that day, but they didn't dwell on it, following him into the meditation chamber. The chamber was filled with a faint fragrance of sandalwood. Jiaishan sat cross-legged, his face, his berry picture of a great Buddhist monk. Fang Xiaoyu and his brother sat down, their expressions questioning as they looked at Jiaishan. How long have you two been at Shaolin with me? Jiaishan, the Zen master. Fang Xiaoyu paused slightly before replying. 8 years. Master Jiaishan nodded gently. 8 years. You were just boys when you arrived, but now you're grown men. I haven't failed your parents' trust. Our master-disciple bond is nearing its end. It's time for you to leave the mountain. Although Fang Xiaoyu and Fang Xiyu often talked about leaving Shaolin, when the day actually arrived, a wave of reluctance washed over them. With a thud, both knelt before Zhu Shan. Fang Xiao's voice trembled as he spoke. Master, are you sending us away? Jiaishan looked at them with loving eyes. Silly children, you've grown into men, like birds with wings ready to fly. You can't stay with me forever. Can you? He closed his eyes slowly and uttered a long Buddhist chant. My foolish children, pack your things and go down the mountain. Seeing his resolve, the brothers exchanged a glance and bowed respectfully. Unworthy disciples take their leave of their master. Even for Fang Xiu, a modern education, 8 years had profoundly changed his perspective. He regarded Jiaishan as a beloved family member. Humans are not trees or plants. How can we be without emotion? After 8 years together, the feelings between us are far from ordinary. Returning to their lodgings, Fang Xiu wore a look of reluctance. Big brother, are we really going down the mountain? Fang Xiaoyu collected himself. Having lived 2 lifetimes, he patted Fang Xiu's shoulder. Xiu, all good things must come to an end. We've been away from home for so long, it's time to return. I wonder how our parents are doing. Guangzhou city remained as prosperous as ever, even more bustling than before. A piece of news was circulating throughout the city. The Fang family, known as Guangzhou's leading merchant, was about to form a marital alliance with the second largest merchant, Lei Lohu. This move sent shockwaves through Guangzhou. The Fang family had been a modest household just a decade ago, but in less than 10 years they had become the city's wealthiest merchant family, with assets exceeding 10 million. The marriage of Fang Xiaoyu, the eldest son of the Fang family, and Lai Tingting, the only daughter of the Lei family, meant the 2 most powerful families in Guangzhou would be united, creating an alliance of immense influence. Leaving aside the gossip on the streets of Guangzhou, let's turn to the general's mansion. Suhaid, a third-ranked general, was paying his respects to a man in fine silk robes. Subordinate Suhaid pays his respects to the supervisor. My lord has traveled far from the capital, and I failed to greet you properly. Please forgive my oversight. The supervisor turned around, his face solemn, an air of majesty emanating from him. He was considerably younger than Suhaid, appearing to be no more than 30 years old. Under the supervisor's gaze, Suhaid felt a surge of nervousness. The man's commanding eyes made it difficult to meet his gaze. Suhaid silently acknowledged the man's reputation. Duosi, a trusted confidant of the emperor, and holder of the prestigious post of 9 Gates supervisor. Had Fang Xiaoyu been
Zhou Wenchuo?
Indeed. This man was Zhou Wenchuo, playing the role of the 9 Gates supervisor. Duo, his bearing was undeniably commanding. Duo stood with one hand behind his back, the other gently stroking a jade ring on his thumb. Suhaid, how did your investigation go? Suhaid quickly bowed, reporting to the supervisor. I used my connections and the results shocked me. The Fang family's influence in Guangzhou is truly astonishing. At least 30% of the city's shops are in their hands. I also discovered that a large sum of money mysteriously disappeared from the Fang family. Duo, still stroking his jade ring, his eyes flashed with sharpness. It matches our intel. For years the Fang family has been colluding with the anti-Qing organization, the Red Flower Society, providing them with a vast amount of gold and silver. Fang Di, in particular, is a key member, possessing or registering all the society's members in Guangdong and Guangxi. Suhaid stared at Duo in shock. He recalled the large sum of money he received from Fang Di, and the weapons and equipment he secretly sold, then linked it to Fang Di's Red Flower Society affiliation. Cold sweat instantly beaded on Suhaid's forehead. Chapter 1006. The day of the wedding. Large beads of sweat rolled down. Suhaid trembled violently, nearly collapsing. Duo seemed oblivious to Suhaid's reaction. Slowly turning away, he said calmly, Suhaid, immediately assemble the Green Standard Army and come with me to arrest the traitor Fang Di.
Yes, sir.
Knowing he had already walked once before the gates of hell, Duo, having ordered him to lead men to capture Fang Di, intended to give him a chance to atone for his crimes. Gratefully bowing to Duo, Suhaid shouted, Men, pass my order. Let the little brats of the Green Battalion assemble. During this period, Although official corruption was rampant, and the army was no longer valiant, the army was still the army. No matter how corrupt, it was still far stronger than ordinary civilians. Erduo and Sod looked at the thousands of Green Battalion soldiers below, said to Erduo, "Sir, rest assured, the brothers will definitely wipe out everyone in the Fang Mansion." Let's not dwell on Erduo preparing to capture Fang Di. At this time, the Fang Mansion was filled with joyous celebrations. Having only returned home from Shaolin 3 days ago, Fang Xiaoyu hadn't yet figured out what was going on when he was about to get married. Dressed in a groom's attire, Fang Xiaoyu wore a wry smile. He remembered that 3 days ago upon his return, he was immediately informed that Fang Di and Miao Qia had arranged a marriage for him. The reason Jiashan Zen Master let him and Fang Xiu return was because Miao Qia had sent a letter to Jiashan Zen Master. This year, Fang Xian 20. At this era, it was indeed time to marry and establish a family. Only Fang Xiaoyu never imagined that their Fang family would be marrying into the Lei family. Having seen the movie Fang Xiu, Fang Xiaoyu naturally knew that the Lei family was a powerful force in Guangzhou City, especially Lei Lohu, who was notoriously tyrannical. As for Lai Tingting, his soon-to-be wife, he had to admit she was a stunning beauty, a truism. Yet he never anticipated that Lai Tingting, who should have been destined for Fang Xiu, would end up marrying him because of his arrival. Watching Fang Xiu excitedly circling him, Fang Xiaoyu could only silently offer an apology. Once betrothed, unless he died, Lai Tingting would be his in life and death, a fact no one could change. Astride his steed, Fang Xiaoyu felt like a puppet. This was his first marriage, in this life and the last, and strangely, he felt a mixture of anticipation and excitement. Unless something unexpected happened, this world's Lai Tingting should bear a striking resemblance, about 8 or 9/10 similar to the Hong Kong beauty, Lai. Back when he worked odd jobs on film sets, the goddess Li was the object of his fantasies, a far-off dream he never imagined had one day hold her in his arms. Over the years, Fang Xiaoyu had noticed something about Fang Xiu in this world. His appearance was about 8 or 9/10 similar to the actor who played him. The same was true for Miao Kefang and Fang Di. This was a relief to Fang Xiaoyu, filling him with anticipation. From Fang Xiu, he could see that this world, born from the movie, had undergone a certain level of optimization. Lei Tingting's appearance would be extremely similar to Liz, perhaps even mistaken for twins. However, after this world's optimization, she might even surpass Li at her most beautiful. These thoughts filled Fang Xiaoyu with anticipation. He longed to see this beauty, even more stunning than Li, and experience her allure. The wedding sedan chair stopped before the Lei residence. Firecrackers exploded in joyous celebration at the equally festive Lai mansion, their sharp crackle adding to the merry atmosphere. Lai Lohu, resplendent in his finery, his face beaming, his belly protruding, stood with the wealthy Mr. Mao. Both grinning broadly. Beside Lei Lohu stood a woman still possessing considerable charm, his wife, Li Xuanhuan, dismounting gracefully. Fang Xiaoyu respectfully greeted Lei Lohu and Li Xuanhuan. Son-in-law greets his father-in-law and mother. Slapping Fang Xiaoyu heartily on the shoulder with his plump hand. "Damn it, boy, you better treat my Tingting well, or he'll break your legs." Truly, Lei Lohu was as uncouth as ever. It was a wonder his father could tolerate his style. Li Xuanhuan, however, surveyed him with a look of approval, saying to Fang Xiaoyu, "We entrust Tingting to you. We hope you two will live in harmony, love each other deeply, and grow old together." After some, Xiaoyu finally ushered the bride into the sedan chair. With a shout, the chair was lifted and Fang Xiaoyu, mounted on a tall steed, rode towards the Fang residence. Crowds thronged the streets. Fang Xiaoyu continuously bowed to the onlookers, slowly making his way until the Sen chair finally stopped before the Fang mansion. Following tradition, Fang Xiaoyu kicked open the Sen door and helped Lei Tingting alight. In the vast court, numerous wealthy merchants and dignitaries of Guangzhou City gathered. Under the watchful eyes of many, Fang Xiaoyu and Lei Tingting bowed before heaven and earth, becoming husband and wife, sharing both fortune and misfortune. Unlike the lively atmosphere in the front courtyard, Fang Xiaoyu felt a subtle nervousness in the quiet bridal chamber. Even after nearly 10 years, when Fang Xiaoyu looked at his reflection, a face almost identical to his former self, a voice in his heart constantly reminded him of the past. If nothing unexpected happened according to the plot, this should be the time when Erduo led people to search for Fang Di and the Red Flower Society's roster. He just didn't know when Erduo would arrive. Muttering softly to himself, Fang Xiaoyu felt inexplicably uneasy. After sending Lai Tingting into the bridal chamber, he left the room, clapping his hands a few times. Soon, a figure appeared before him. The person moved swiftly, clearly a martial artist. Fang Xiaoyu addressed him. "How is it? What did your investigation reveal? Have any dignitaries from the capital entered Guangzhou City?" The person replied respectfully, reporting to young master, "Our men noticed a group arriving from the north several days ago, speaking with a Beijing accent. They entered the Guangzhou general's mansion. We used money to find out that among them was the Nine Gates overseer Erduo." A jolt ran through Fang Xiaoyu. He clenched his fist, a gleam flashing in his eyes. He waved his hand, saying, "Go, and don't let your guard down." Looking at the darkening sky, Fang Xiaoyu sighed softly. "A storm is brewing, but that's good, Erduo. I've trained hard for nearly 10 years, just so that one day I can personally kill you. I hope you won't disappoint me this time. With me here, you won't be able to take Fang Di away." In the original story, Erduo arrested Fang Di and was about to execute him publicly when Fang Xiu rescued him from the execution ground. However, with Fang Xiaoyu's intervention, It's unlikely Erdo could easily capture Fang Di this time. Late at night, as the sounds from the front courtyard gradually subsided, Fang Xiaoyu stared intently at the exquisite face before him. Chapter 7. Unwelcome guests. The face before him was strikingly similar to Li Meiren's, yet even more perfect. Lei Tingting, at only 19 years old, was at the peak of her beauty. Her skin was as delicate and soft as a baby's. Under Fang's intense gaze, a blush crept onto Lei Tingting's exquisitely beautiful face. She stole a shy glance at him before lowering her head in embarrassment. Looking at Lei Tingting's delicate features, a fire ignited in Fang Xiaoyu's heart. He gently lifted her. He chuckled at her bashful reaction. "My wife, let us drink a celebratory cup." Lei Tingting, overwhelmed with shyness, looked at Fang Xiaoyu's handsome face, her heart pounding. The memory of their first meeting 8 years ago flooded back. From that day on, Fang Xiaoyu's image had been imprinted on her heart. 8 years later, that image, far from fading, had become even clearer. The moment the veil was lifted and she saw Fang Xiaoyu, his image instantly merged with the one she held in her heart. In a hazy state, Lei Tingting felt herself lifted into strong arms and gently placed on the bed. By the time Lei Tingting reacted, a sharp pain shot through her lower body, causing her to cry out in surprise. A night of boundless spring, a night of amorous dalliance.
Kill! Charge in! Don't let the rebels escape!
In the dead of night, Fang Xiaoyu, nestled in the arms of his beloved, was abruptly awakened by the sounds of shouting and fighting. He sprang up, pulling the silken quilt with him, revealing the jade-like body of Lei Tingting, her beauty marred by sleep and tears. Startled, Lei Tingting cried out. Fang Xiaoyu, however, paid her no mind, his expression grave as he addressed her. "Tingting, dress quickly! Something's wrong!" Lei Tingting, having heard the commotion outside, was shocked. Who dared attack the Lion Fang families at this hour? But seeing her husband's reaction, she knew this was no ordinary matter. After giving Lei Tingting a few instructions, Fang Xiaoyu rushed out to the courtyard, only to see flames and hear the deafening sounds of battle in the distance. Soon, Fang Xiaoyu saw Fang Di and Miao Qiu, protected by a group of guards, retreating. "Father, mother, what's going on? Who dares attack our Fang manor?" Fang Di looked dejected. The moment he saw a Du leading the soldiers, he knew his identity had been exposed. He said, following Fang Xiaoyu's words, "This is a long story. Quickly take Tingting and leave. Leave this to your father." Knowing Fang Di was looking out for him, even though they hadn't spent much time together over the years, he couldn't just abandon him. Regardless of his mission to protect Fang Di and kill Duo, even without that mission, he couldn't be so cold-hearted as to leave Fang Di and the others to their fate. "You're really something. Take another punch." Hearing that familiar voice, Fang Xiaoyu immediately recognized it as Fang Xiyu's. Fang Xiyu's cultivation was considerable. Ordinary people were no match for him. But from the sound of it, Fang Xiyu had encountered a formidable opponent. In the vast Guangzhou city, those who could stand against Fang Xiyu could be counted on one hand. The most likely candidate was Duo, the nine-gate superintendent from the capital. Duo. A surge of excitement went through Fang Xiaoyu. For nearly 10 years he had dedicated himself to cultivation, all for the sake of confronting Duo. Now the moment had finally arrived. Fang Xiaoyu let out a long roar and in a few leaps, he landed amidst the crowd. His fists and legs flew, instantly sending a dozen or so soldiers fleeing in disarray, many of them groaning in pain with broken bones. At that moment, Fang Xiaoyu saw Fang Xiu being suppressed by a man in a brocade robe. This man was 8 or 9 points similar to Zhou Wenchuo. At first glance he looked like a younger version of Zhou Wenchuo himself, his face full of murderous aura, giving the impression of a ruthless and cruel person. A tiger claw fiercely grabbed Fang Xiu's shoulder, tearing away a piece of flesh. Fang Xiu let out a muffled groan, and in return, he landed a powerful Vajra fist on Erda's chest, sending him reeling back several steps. "Xiu, protect father and mother and leave first. Leave this." Xiu simply bandaged his shoulder, his eyes gleaming with eagerness. "Big brother, I'll stay and help you." Glaring at Fang Xiu, he said, "Fang Xiu, what's with all the hesitation? Don't you see all these soldiers? How can just the two of us handle them? Hurry and take father and mother away." No matter how unwilling Fang Xiu was in his heart, he knew Fang Xiaoyu was right. He stamped his foot hard and said, "Then big brother, you must be careful. Watch out for that villainous official. His iron sand palm is incredibly vicious. Don't let him get you." Fang Xiaoyu scoffed. "What? You don't have faith in your big brother?" Then, Fang Xiaoyu turned to Erda and said, "Sir, you exude such nobility. This small Guangzhou city is probably too small for you, isn't it? Perhaps you come from the capital." Fang Xiu, the eldest son of Fang Di, was intelligent from a young age. At the age of 10, he was sent to Shaolin to learn martial arts by his mother, Miao Qiu, and returned several days ago. His eyes narrowed slightly. Fang Xiaoyu looked calmly at Erda and said, "You seem to know a great deal about me. Shouldn't you introduce yourself as well?" Erdo slightly lowered head, gently stroking the jade ring on his thumb. Suddenly he stamped his flicking a large, square bluestone towards Fang Xiaoyu, and sneered, "I am Erdo, the overseer of the 9 gates, ordered to capture the rebel Fang Di and his entire family. Don't forget you die by." From the first glance at Erdo, Fang Xiaoyu knew this was the target he was tasked to eliminate. However, he never expected that Erdo, the esteemed overseer of the 9 gates, would disregard all martial principles and resort to such a cowardly sneak attack. The bluestone whistled through the air. A direct hit would have resulted in broken bones. But Fang Xiaoyu's 10 years of arduous training weren't in vain. He instantly assumed a martial stance, delivering a punch that shattered the stone into fragments. Erdo grabbed his long braid, wrapping it around his neck and biting the end, and ferociously lunged at Fang Xiaoyu. While engaging Erdo, Fang Xiaoyu also monitored the situation in the rear courtyard. He had anticipated this attack, and unlike Fang Di and Fang Xiu, he remained considerably calm and composed in the face of Erdo and his men. Fang Xiaoyu wasn't particularly worried about Erdo. With his preemptive arrangements, Erdo was destined to return empty-handed, and if luck was on his side, he might even kill him. A squad of strong and fit Green Standard troops, led by General Suhaid, surrounded him from all directions, their arrows aimed squarely at Fang Xiaoyu. Chapter 2008. Unending countermeasures. Under such circumstances, to say Fang Xiaoyu wasn't nervous would be a lie after all. This was his first encounter with such a dangerous situation. Being able to maneuver effectively against Erdo's assault was already a remarkable achievement. The two men engaged in cloakers combat. Fang Xiaoyu, having cultivated the invincible Vajra body divine art, was at least as strong as Erda, if not stronger. Erda's eyes gleamed. He clearly hadn't anticipated Fang's strength, however. The stronger Fang Xiaoyu proved to be, the more excited Erda became. He actually signaled Suhaid and the others not to interfere.
Young master, take the stick!
Suddenly a servant tossed a short staff towards Fang Xiaoyu. Fang Xiaoyu leaped into the air, grabbing it, while Erda simultaneously reached for the same staff. The staff was seized by both men. They exchanged a look, and with a light exertion of internal force, a sharp crack sounded as the staff broke cleanly in two. With Fang Shui's half-staff aiming a blow at his head, Erda dodged, his own half-staff striking towards Fang Xiaoyu's heart. Their exchange was incredibly dangerous. Fang Xiaoyu was inwardly shocked. Years ago, watching Erda battle Fang Xiu in a film had thought Erda was formidable, but now, in actual combat, he found Erda far stronger than had imagined. Fang Xiu's victory over Erda must have been largely due to luck, at least, in Fang Xiaoyu. The current Fang Xiu was no match for Erda. Of course, if Fang Xiu fought with all his might and Erda was hesitant to kill, then Fang Xiu might have had a chance. With a loud thud, Fang Xiaoyu felt a sharp pain in his shoulder, forcing him to stumble back several steps. Erda's staff had struck him. Had it not been for his cultivation of the invincible Vajra body divine art, this single blow would have crippled his arm. But Erda wasn't unscathed either. Fang Xiaoyu's blow landed on his waist and shattering his own staff. Erda was now clutching his waist, his face contorted in pain. Suhaid, standing nearby, let out a wild yell.
Archers, fire!
Dozens of arrows flew towards Fang Yu. Enduring the searing pain in his shoulder, he flung himself towards a rockery in the garden. Just as the arrows were about to strike, the rockery wall inexplicably flipped, revealing a hidden passage into which Fang Xiaoyu darted. Perhaps hundreds of arrows were blocked by the now reversed stone slab.
Momentarily stunned, roared, chase after him, don't let a single rebel escape!
A swarm of Green Standard troops surged forward, intent on razing the rockery to the ground. Erdu, however, frowned, his gaze fixed on the rockery. In the secret passage, Fang Xiaoyu struck a flint, igniting a fuse. A cold smile played on his lips. I've been preparing for this day. If I didn't even have this much ready, would I be the laughingstock of countless time-traveling predecessors? These years, though residing in Shaolin Temple, Fang Xiaoyu hadn't remained idle. He had secretly installed countless mechanisms and hidden passages throughout the vast Fang Manor. All for this very day. If he hadn't wanted to test the difference in cultivation between himself and Erdu, Fang Xiaoyu would have been confident enough to avoid encountering them altogether, leading Fang Xiu and the others to safety. Watching the fuse hiss and rapidly spread behind him, Fang Xiaoyu turned and fled. A deafening explosion engulfed the vast rear garden in a sea of fire, instantly turning dozens of Green Standard Army soldiers digging behind the artificial mountain into a bloody mess. A wave of icy dread washed over Erdu. A life-threatening crisis descended. Almost instinctively, he pulled the obese Suhaid in front of him as a shield, while simultaneously lunging towards the garden's edge. A terrifying shockwave hit, countless fragments of stone pelting Suhaid's body like bullets, tearing it into a bloody pulp. Erdu rolled over the courtyard wall and landed on the ground, flipping over and crouching behind a flower bed. Above him, a rain of severed limbs, rubble, and dirt fell relentlessly. His head swam. Only after a while did Erdu shakily, gazing through the collapsed courtyard wall at the scene beyond. The rear garden, dozens of yards away, was reduced to ruins. Dozens of Green Standard Army soldiers lay dead, their blood staining the garden. Damn it, Fang Di, I Erdu. Swear I won't be a man until I kill you. Ignoring Erda's furious rage, he ordered a lockdown of Guangzhou City, dispatching troops to hunt down Fang Xiaoyu and his companions. Meanwhile, Fang Xiaoyu and Fang Di were gathered in a humble courtyard. A look of relief washed over Lai Tingting's face. Newly married, confused by the events, Lai Lohu, clad only in a moon-white undergarment, slapped Fang Xiaoyu on the shoulder.
Cursing, damn it all!
Wasn't it supposed to be peaceful coexistence? What the hell are you Fangs up to? Lai Lohu's slap landed squarely on Fang Xiaoyu's injured shoulder, making him wince. Lai Tingting pushed Lai Lohu away, gently supporting Fang Xiaoyu and asking with concern, "Husband, what's wrong? Where are you hurt? Let me see." Lai Lo wiped his smooth forehead, cursing, "Damn it. I've raised that good for nothing daughter of mine for nothing." Fang Di Miao Kua, and the others looked at Fang Xiaoyu with concern. Fang Xiaoyu patted Lai Tingting's hand and smiled at everyone. "Don't worry, it's just a minor injury." Seeing Fang Xiaoyu's rosy complexion, everyone relaxed a little. He didn't seem seriously injured. Then Fang Xiaoyu walked to Fang Di, saying, "Erda's target is you and the Red Flower Society roster in your possession. We must leave Guangzhou City." Fang Di looked at Fang Xiaoyu in surprise. "Xiaoyu, you, how did you know?" Fang Xiaoyu smiled slightly. "Father, don't worry about that. I know what I need to know. Let's leave Guangzhou City first." Lai Lao's eyes widened as he stared at Fang Di, suddenly shouting, "Damn it, my in-law, you've ruined me!" Fang Xiu came closer and said to Fang Xiaoyu, Big brother, you must have a plan. Tell us how to leave. He gave Fang Xiu a white look, and everyone else looked at Fang Xiaoyu, obviously curious about his plan to escape Guangzhou City. The commotion outside clearly indicated that Guangzhou City was under strict curfew. It was impossible for even a fly to escape, let alone a person. Fang Xiaoyu clapped his hands. With a creak, the door opened, and an elderly man carrying a bundle approached, respectfully handing it to Fang Xiaoyu. Fang Xiaoyu opened the pack, revealing several sets of green standard army uniforms before them. Seeing the clothing, everyone suddenly understood. It had to be admitted that Fang Xiaoyu had painstakingly prepared for this day, even arranging their escape after the city was sealed. By disguising themselves as green standard army soldiers, no one would suspect Fang Xiaoyu and his companions were hiding amongst the very soldiers searching the city. Soon everyone was changed. Even Lai Tingting and Miao Qia had been disguised, making them virtually unrecognizable without close inspection. As dawn broke, Fang Xiaoyu patted Fang Xia's shoulder. Protect everyone and get them out of the city. Fang Xiu replied, Big brother, aren't you even with us? Chapter 1009. Fang Xiaoyu smiled faintly. Without eliminating Erduo, will never escape his pursuit. The previous explosion, even if it didn't kill Erduo, must have injured him. I must ensure this menace is eliminated. In that case, let me kill Duo. Big brother, you and sister-in-law should take everyone else and leave. Li Lao said from the side. Yes, Fang Xiu, that boy, is strong and healthy. Son-in-law, you're still injured. Fang Xiaoyu shook his head. Everyone, don't worry about me. I've laid many plans in Guangzhou City. Even if I fail against a Duosi, there won't be any danger. But Xiu going there, he has no such guarantees. From last night until now, everyone has been stunned by the sudden turn of events. Only Fang Xiaoyu's performance shocked them all. His series of contingency plans made it seem as if he had known this day would come now. Hearing Fang Xiaoyu say he had arrangements in Guangzhou City, no one doubted him. Only Lai Tingting silently wrapped her arm around Fang Xiaoyu, her body trembling slightly. Feeling his beloved's anxiety, Fang Xiaoyu turned and embraced her, kissing her smooth forehead. He whispered, Tingting, don't worry, even if it's just for you. I'll protect my own life. After speaking, Fang Xiaoyu patted Fang Xiu on the shoulder. While the city's green standard army is in chaos, let's go. Fang Di stamped his foot, looked deeply at Fang Xiaoyu and gritted his teeth. Let's go. Watching Fang Di and the others leave, Fang Xiaoyu clapped his hands quickly. More than a dozen figures, agile and nimble, gathered around him. These people were the subordinates Fang Xiaoyu had secretly gathered and trained over the years. After all, with so much wealth and nearly 10 years of preparation, he couldn't claim everything was perfect, but he had at least made ample preparations. Looking at the crowd, Fang Xiaoyu said, you are to immediately disperse throughout the city and set fires everywhere to create chaos. I need Guangzhou City to be thrown into utter turmoil. At Fang Xiaoyu's command, Guangzhou City plunged into chaos. Amidst the turmoil, Fang Xiaoyu headed straight for the Guangzhou governor's mansion. Erduo was impacted by the explosion, but his quick reaction, using Shuhaid as a shield and the flower bed as cover, saved him from death. Despite this, Erduo's face, he dismissed the maids attending to his wounds, and bare-chested, with bandages around his waist, he slammed his hand on the table, shattering it into pieces. Several guards rushed into the room, only to be met with Erduo's furious scolding and driven from the courtyard. Under the cloak of night, a figure, agile as a gibbon, evaded patrolling guards and silently appeared in the courtyard. In the study, a silhouette was cast on the window, none other than Erduo. Fang Xiaoyu, clad in the uniform of a standard army officer, his eyes flashing with determination, silently drew his sharp long knife, took a deep breath, and like a blade, burst through the Erduo. Erduo was startled, instinctively bringing his hands together to block the incoming blade. But Fang Xiaoyu's full force strike was devastating, far beyond what Erduo could withstand in such a moment. With a pucci, a piercing pain tore through Erduo's chest. He watched, horrified, as the long knife pierced his heart, a torrent of blood spurting forth, splattering Fang Xiaoyu's face. Fang Xiaoyu watched as the light faded from Erduo's unwilling eye. Suppressing the rising nausea, he withdrew his blade and, before the guards could react, vanished into the darkness. Fang Xiaoyu was far from calm. The moment Erduo fell, a voice he'd almost forgotten echoed in his mind. Ding. Governor Erduo. Host's first mission complete. The system's sudden prompt brought a surge of joy to Fang Xiaoyu's heart. For nearly 10 years, the system had been silent. If he hadn't clung to the memory of his origins, he felt he would have been completely assimilated into this world. The completion of the first mission meant he was closer to his ultimate goal. His second task was to steal the 9-dragon seal. For years, Fang Xiaoyu had been gathering information on Qianlong and the seal, and had made considerable progress. If not for Erduo, Fang Xiaoyu might have already made his move. Erduo's death meant Qianlong had lost a loyal hound, at least for a while. The defenses around the emperor would be weakened, giving Fang Xiaoyu a significant advantage in his next moves. Glancing back at the chaotic general's mansion, Fang Xiaoyu's gaze turned north towards the capital. He muttered softly, next stop, the Red Flower Society. Time to convince those fellows Qianlong some trouble! Soon, a contingent of elite soldiers poured from the general's mansion, their leaders shouting angrily, their fury evident at the discovery of Erduo's death. Ignoring the enraged guards, Fang Xiaoyu vanished into the night. The city gates were already under strict guard, with squads of green standard troops stationed there, making it impossible for anyone to slip through. But at this moment, Fang Xiaoyu appeared on a secluded section of the city wall. A figure rushed to greet him, respectfully saying, Sir Fang, the ropes are ready as you instructed. Fang Xiaoyu clapped the green standard soldier on the shoulder, a 10-tal gold ingot dropping into the man's hand. Fang Xiaoyu then grabbed hold of the secured rope, and with a few agile movements descended the wall. After Fang Xiaoyu landed, the soldier who had received the gold quickly retrieved the rope, patted the gold ingot hidden in his bosom, and humming a tune, strolled down the wall. The vast city of Guangzhou was in chaos, with people searching everywhere for Fang Xiaoyu and his companions. However, no one knew that they had already escaped from the city's vulnerable defenses. About 10 miles from Guangzhou City, a quiet village, small with only 100 or so households and several hundred villagers, nestled in the countryside. In a courtyard within the village, a dark figure rhythmically knocked on the gate. Several strong men, wielding large knives, stood guard, their expressions alert. With a creak, the gate opened, and a figure entered the courtyard. A voice then rang,
"Brother, you're back!"
The one who shouted was none other than Fang Xiaoyu. Fang Xiaoyu looked at Fang Xiaoyu with excitement, curiously examining him from head to toe. "Brother," he said, "if you hadn't come back, sister-in-law and mother would have been worried sick." Patting Fang Xiaoyu on the shoulder, Fang Xiaoyu's gaze fell upon Lai Tingting and the others who stood at the doorway, their faces alight with surprise, although Fang Di maintained a calm demeanor. Fang Xiaoyu's expression relaxed considerably upon seeing him. Clearing his throat, Fang Xiaoyu addressed the group. "I've returned, everyone. Don't worry," Li Lohu, puffing out his stomach, said. "Boy, you didn't actually kill that 9-gate supervisor from the capital, did you?" Chapter 10, The Red Flower Headquarters. Fang Xiaoyu chuckled. "It was just a 9-gate supervisor. Killing him is nothing." Lei Lo couldn't help but purse his lips. "Damn it, this kid's incredibly arrogant.
That was a powerful 9-gate supervisor!
He makes it sound like he killed a chicken." Fang Di was startled by Fang Xiaoyu's words and stared at him. "Xiaoyu, did you really kill the 9-gate supervisor?" The 9-gate supervisor was arguably the most capable official under Xuanhuan, consistently responsible for suppressing the Red Flower Society. Countless members of the Red Flower Society had perished at the hands of Erda. Because so many had died at Erda's hands, Fang Di was well aware of his power. If Fang Xiaoyu hadn't said it himself, he would have seriously doubted his claim. Fang Xiaoyu nodded and said, "It was merely a clever trick, but the fact remains that Erda is dead. With the Red Flower Society's intelligence-gathering capabilities, news will reach them soon enough." Fang Di excitedly slammed his fist on the desk, his surprise unconcealed.
"Excellent! That dog official's demise our brothers!"
Li Laohu scoffed from the side. "Good. What's so good about it? Killing Erdu has made a huge mess. We'll all become wanted criminals by the court. Peace. Peace, I say." Ignoring Lei Laohu's grumbling, Fang Xiaoyu took Lai Tingting's hand and addressed the group. "Everyone, get some rest. If I'm not mistaken, with Erdu as brutal, the bigwigs in Guangzhou Prefecture won't dare to be idle. We must leave Guangzhou Prefecture immediately." Fang Di nodded emphatically. "Right. Well, head to the Red Flower Society's main headquarters to meet with the Grandmaster tomorrow." Everyone retired to their rooms. The next day the sky was just beginning to lighten. Fang Xiaoyu, having slept only a few hours, awoke. He looked at the sky outside, then at Lai Tingting nestled in his arms. Fang Xiaoyu could help but be captivated. At 17 or 18, a newlywed wife possessed a youthful charm blended with mature allure. Coupled with her breathtaking beauty, Fang Xiaoyu felt a surge of desire. Lai Tingting, dressed in a moon-white undergarment, her eyes fluttered. The beauty, opening her eyes, saw Fang Xiaoyu gazing at her intently. A flash of fair skin across her chest was quickly gone. Lai Tingting's face flushed slightly as she slowly sat up. "Husband, why aren't you resting?" Fang Xiaoyu took a deep breath, suppressing his inner thoughts, and patted Lai Tingting's shoulder. "Tingting, get dressed. We need to leave here quickly." Lai Tingting was startled. From outside, Fang Xiaoyu's voice called, "Big brother, wake up. Everyone's getting ready to leave." While dressing, Fang Xiaoyu apologized to Lai Tingting. "It's our Fang family that's gotten you involved." Lai Tingting covered Fang Xiaoyu's mouth, her face soft with affection. "My husband, don't say that." He kissed her palm. Lai Tingting's cheeks flushed crimson. She gave him a charming glare and Fang Xiaoyu laughed heartily. "Tingting, hurry and pack. I'll go take a look outside." Soon they were ready. More than a dozen people gathered in the courtyard, besides Fang Xiaoyu, Lai Lohu and their families. Knife-carrying men scattered around. Upon closer inspection, these men were all under 20. Their faces still carrying a youthful air, yet they emanated a fierce aura, the fruit of Fang Xiaoyu's efforts over the past decade. With the vast fortune Fang Xiaoyu secretly controlled, cultivating loyal subordinates was a simple matter. While these dozen guards couldn't necessarily take on 10 men each, together they could stand against a company of 100 Green Standard Army soldiers. Fang Di knew nothing of these men. Fang Xiu, always close to Fang Xiaoyu, had vaguely sensed something, but he never imagined that Fang Xiaoyu had assembled such a formidable group. Fang Xiu, whose nature was brimming with a love for fighting and a thirst for battle, was extremely pleased with these men. If only the time and place had been right, he wouldn't have missed the opportunity to test his mettle against them. There wasn't much to pack up. When one magnificent steed after another was led out, even Fang Di stared at Fang Xiaoyu with astonishment. If it weren't for the numbing effect of their recent experiences, everyone would have swarmed Fang Xiaoyu, demanding to know what other surprises he had up his sleeve. Since yesterday's unexpected turn of events, Fang Xiaoyu had revealed one astonishing trump card after another: the secret passage, the calm exit from the city, and the dozen or so strong guard. Each event had far surpassed the expectations of Fang Di and the others. With a swift mount, he pulled Lai Tingting onto the horse amidst her startled cry. Holding her close, he shouted to the stunned group, "What are you all gawking at? Mount up!" Scrambling onto their horses one by one, thanks to Fang Xiaoyu's meticulous planning over the past 10 years, the journey was surprisingly smooth. not at all like a desperate flight. In just a few days, they were close to the Red Flower Society's headquarters. The Red Flower Society was nestled in a remote village. As a force hunted and suppressed by the court, the location of their headquarters was naturally well hidden. The entire town was comprised of Red Flower Society members. They maintained an exceptionally low profile, so much so that even the local officials would never have suspected that the notorious Red Flower Society's headquarters was concealed within a seemingly ordinary town. The tranquil town was shattered by the arrival of a dozen or more magnificent steeds, their thundering hooves breaking the usual peace. Beneath a large tree at the edge of town, a dozen figures led by a refined-looking man watched the approaching cavalry from a distance. One of them, a one-armed Taoist priest, let out a hearty laugh.
They agree here! It is Brother Fang Di and the others!
The refined-looking man at the head of the group was Chen Jialuo. The leader of the Red Flower Society, a scowling bald man, his eyes narrowed like a viper's, fixed a cold smile on the rapidly approaching Fang Xiaoyu and his party. This was Yu Zhenhai, the descendant of Yu Wanting, the former leader of the Red Flower Society. Chen Jialuo smiled at Yu Zhenhai and the others. Gentlemen, let us go to greet Brother Fang De Hu. With a long sigh, the lead horse came to a sudden stop. Fang Di dismounted, his face alight with joy. Bowing respectfully to Chen Jialuo, Fang Di greets the Grand Leader. I trust all is well with the esteemed members. Chen Jialuo grasped Fang Di's arm, laughing. Brother Fang, there's no need for such formality. The fact that you've come here with your entire family is due to our failure to protect your identity, causing harm to your family. Fang Di immediately straightened his posture. Grand Leader, please don't say that. I am a member of the Red Flower Society. The exposure of my identity is only to be expected. How could I blame the brothers of the Grand Headquarters? Yu Zhenhai sneered. It's a pity about that vast fortune. You should have transferred the wealth earlier, letting the Grand Headquarters handle it. Now that your identity is exposed, that wealth will fall into the Qing court's hands. From the moment he dismounted, Fang Xiaoyu had been observing the assembled company with interest. Zheng Shoqia's portrayal of Chen Jialuo was indeed refined and elegant, while Yu Zhenhai lived up to his reputation as the main villain in the original drama, immediately launching into complaints about the Fang family's lost fortune. This episode is complete. Welcome to subscribe. Turn on the small bell forward. Please leave your comments. I will continue to update the content behind.